Welcome to the first episode in the latest series of This Racing Life. We have come down to Newmarket. Yes, Newmarket in the middle of the national hunt season. Stay tuned to find out why, because here is what's coming up on this week's show as we discover some of HQ's jumping gems.
It's nice when you find a little gem somewhere. You can then join the bigger boys and the bigger races.
It must be very satisfying to be able to compete with the big boys in the way that you are at the moment.
Yes. I wouldn't have admitted this a while ago, but I'm actually quite proud of that, yes.
A good rider can feel things before you can see them. So sometimes you're like, oh, let's scan this.
Sixth sense.
Yeah, it is like a sixth sense. And yeah, when I'm like, okay, we got to scan this, and everybody's like, there's nothing there. And then I was like, yeah, there's something there. I'm working on a plan of like having a little satellite string for Saratoga over there. So if anybody's watching, if you want to have a runner over there, get in touch. Even with a jumper, get in touch.
I like winning. Whether it's a class 5 or whatever, I like to win. I can take defeat, but I like to win.
But you have to have that as a trainer in your nature, don't you? Otherwise,
yeah.
You're not going to get anywhere.
You have to have it, yeah. You know, if I get beat, why have we got beat? Let's go again, we'll win again. Winning is a drug, but winning a big race is, that's where you want to be.
Newmarket's flat racing heartland is home to emerging national hunt trainer James Owen. A 5-time Arabian champion trainer, he has all the tools to compete on the big stage.
James, the saying goes, a jack of all trades, a master of none. But I think it's fair to say, having been around your yard this morning, you're a master of all trades, because we've got point-to-pointing, we've got Arab racing, pre-training, and of course, training national hunt and flat horses too. There's a lot going on here. Yeah,
there's a lot going on. And, obviously we're changing now and probably going a bit more down the national hunt route, but until that grows, we'll continue with a lot going on. We've learnt a lot through the Arab racing. We've done well at that over the years. We've been champion trainer five seasons and trained for some lovely owners, including Shadwell, who were very supportive of us, supporters of me and my yard. We've had some good winners, group winners as well. But when Shadwell come out of the Arabians, we needed to change really. Pre-training has been our core business since we started at Greenridge Stables 7 years ago. And that will continue to do well and pay the bills, and we'll continue to service our clients, who are a lot of our clients are the Newmarket trainers. But we just needed something to bridge that gap where we lost the Arabs. So we thought we'd train some national hunt horses. National hunt has been a love of mine through point-to-pointing, and we're really enjoying it. I'm loving it. My team is loving it, and it's really brought my team together. We've got better staff because of it, and we're very lucky to be supported by the Gredley family, and we've got a good horse, and we want more good horses.
It's always the aim, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's going well.
If we can just rewind for a moment to when you first came into the industry, because it's been quite a long time now, and you started off as a point-to-point rider. Was it always something you wanted to do to get into the training ranks? I
like training. I like training the pointers. So originally I trained the pointers. I like training the Arabians. I like winning. Whether it's a class 5 or whatever, I like to win. I've got a competitive nature. You speak to my wife. I've got a very competitive nature. I like to win at everything we do, and I can take defeat, but I like to win. But
you have to have that as a trainer in your nature, don't you? Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere.
You have to have it, yeah. If I get beat, why have we got beat? Let's go again. We'll win again. That's and we'll do that. I've never really sat at the top table and had big winners like we did at Cheltenham and Burdett Road. We've won some group races with the Arabs, but we've never had the high end and won the big races. Having that taste of that is wow, and you want more of it. That winning at Cheltenham is a massive buzz, a massive feeling, and you want more of it. That's a drug. Winning is a drug, but winning a big race is, that's where you want to be.
Did you ever get sort of satisfaction when you were pre-training for horses that have then gone on to do very good things? For example, Desert Crown, I know you pre-trained, so you've had some very nice thoroughbred horses under your wing early on. When you saw them go on to do good things, do you sort of get a certain, that was partly because of me? Or is it something, if they change so much as they get older, it doesn't matter so much?
Originally when we started pre-training, I got satisfaction. My teams, the hardest thing is my team around me, the staff that you need to do the job. They're not getting the appreciation for it. You put all the hard work in and whatever. I found it hard to keep staff with the pre-training because it's so up and down, becomes so seasonal. But that's why we sort of had to change and have national hunt horses or the Arabians. We've always done something as well as pre-train, just to boost those stables, keep the horses in the stables, to help pay the bills. Staff work in racing because they like horses. When that horse disappears, when they've just got a rapport with it, it can be upsetting, and it's nice to see these the girls and the boys liking these horses and wanting to go racing with them, and saying to me, I think this might work better. That's what I want. We've got a young team of riders, a lot of them are jockeys, and we support our lads. I've always supported them Arab racing, and I'll support them under rules as much as I can. Alex has done very well. He's a big friend of mine, good supporter, and I bounce ideas off him. He rides Burdett Road every day. When Alex has a day's holiday, I'm the one that's worried. Who's riding Burdett Road?
Yeah.
He's a very special horse for the yard. I mean, he's definitely put us on the map. We had a really good summer, and we want to keep on going through the summer into the winter, and he's definitely sort of flown the flag for the yard in that respect. He's a very relaxed horse at home, in that respect, where I always found that the good horses that I used to ride are always relaxed at home and would come alight on the racetrack. You see him at home, he's very relaxed. You see him in the pre-parade, in the parade ring at Cheltenham, he's like a donkey.
Of course, he's got that really classy form on the flat too, and it wouldn't necessarily be the most regular occurrence to see a horse that good on the flat being transferred to the jumping game, but in itself that's quite exciting, isn't it?
I think so. I think it would play in his benefit because he's won at Royal Ascot, and that's a big day for a young horse, especially him. He's 4 now, and I think the preliminaries in the race are important. They can get worked up, and I definitely think that will be in his favour on the day, I hope, because there'll be a lot of horses there that haven't got the experience he's got of winning at Ascot or even being at Royal Ascot. So I definitely think that will play in his favour.
And for an up-and-coming yard like this one, James Owen hasn't had too many horses in the National Hunt ranks yet. It's quite something to have a horse this good so early, isn't it?
Definitely. Like you don't see these horses come around very often, do you? And to get one on the first season is like a sort of dream come true, isn't it? I think we've struggled to get another one as good as him anytime soon, but we've just got to enjoy him now and look forward to the good days.
Up the hill they come, in orange on Brayton Fasher. The yellow jacket now at Burdett Road has stormed through the lead. This was a cool ride from Harry Compton. Burdett Road has remained unbeaten as won very impressively.
Some buzz, I've been to Cheltenham, ridden there a few times, been there with some hunter chasers, usually come home disappointed. It's the hardest place to win, whether it's festival or any day. It's a hard place to win. He flew home.
Do you sort of kind of sit back and take stock of what's happened over the last year and a half? Because there aren't many trainers really ever who in their first sort of year or so training in a national hunt sphere, and one of the first horses they have in the code would be a anti-post favourite for a Cheltenham Festival race, and that's what you've got. We
pinch ourselves really. Yeah, it's amazing, and look, it's thanks to the Gredlers to be trusting to send me a horse of this quality, just to put this kind of horse over hurdles. Because a flat horse of his calibre to go over hurdles is not heard of anymore, is it? But to send him to me, a new trainer, was great. But Tim's a good friend, and he's loving it as well, And Mr. Gredley come and saw Burdett and these others the other night, and he's pleased with them. So.
And I guess what you did with Father of Jazz and Too Friendly paved the way. You wouldn't have had Burdett Road if they hadn't been so successful themselves.
No, definitely, yeah. I think that was whether that was a test or that was, yeah.
Well, you've shown you can do it.
Yeah, so. Hopefully, yeah. We've shown we can do it. We've just got to keep doing it.
And on the Triumph Hurdle itself, it's an old cliche, isn't it, for an up-and-coming trainer to ask, how much would it mean? But I imagine to have a victory at a festival as important as Cheltenham, it would be a huge fillip to your career.
Yeah, it'd be massive for us. Hopefully be a massive springboard to build the yard up and get some better owners in the yard, better horses in the yard, and to go back there next year with a few more live chances would be great. But this year is about the Triumph, and we'll get the job done. Hopefully we can get the job done. I'm sure if we get Burdett Road there in A1 condition, he'll get the job done. And next year will be about going back there with a few more live chances. That's what's exciting.
And final question, in one word, does Burdett Road win the Triumph Hurdle?
Fingers crossed. Hopefully.
It's one of the chilliest days of the National Hunt season, but if there's one thing that warms the heart, it's a racehorse trainer with a real passion for the game. And Ilka Gansera-Leveque most certainly has that. The only female racehorse trainer who is also a practising vet, has a real zest, not just for racehorses, but for artwork too. Let's find out and let her paint the picture. How did you come to be involved in the sport originally?
Well, we were always racing fans, so my family always went racing. When I grew up in California, we'd go to Santa Anita every weekend. And even before then in Arizona, my dad was a pilot, so a starfighter pilot. So we would always, every 3 years you had to move. So before that, when I was really little, like kindergarten age, we lived in Arizona. We went to Turf Paradise. So I was always into racing, and then got into riding horses and wanted to be an apprentice or wanted to be a jockey. So I did a German apprenticeship, and then off it goes. And then later on, I decided to go back to vet school when I was 26. So I went back to the vet school of Hanover in Germany.
And you ended up here how?
We got this place in the summer of 2015 from Bill O'Gorman. We live above the yard, and we called it St. Wendred's because it is the main well of the Seven Springs. But I can't take credit for that, Bill, because the BHA kept saying, what are you going to call your place? What are you going to call your place? And I was like, oh my God, Bill, what am I going to do? And then he said, well, if you want to keep it in the water theme, you could name it after the main well of the Seven Springs, which are right here along the A14.
Have you ever thought about exploring your roots back in America, or maybe going to train there one day?
I want to, I'm working on a plan of having a little satellite string for Saratoga over there. So if anybody's watching, if you want to have a runner over there, get in touch. Even with a jumper, get in touch.
I always enjoy meeting people in life who have got passion for things. And you've certainly got a passion for horses, but you've also got a passion for art.
Yeah, I love art, and I think that's what life's all about. You got to find your purpose and your passion, and the art thing just kind of fell into my lap, and I went with it, and I ran with it, and it's growing from strength to strength, and it's exciting.
It certainly is, and you've got 3 galleries now, haven't you? All with art that is original.
Yeah, 3 gallery spaces, and then the gallery also will be taking part in some well-known art fairs, such as Affordable Art Fair and the Fresh Art Fair. So it's all it's not the knick-knacky, it's really the real deal. It is slightly different than your usual gallery, so
yeah. Well, what's great about them is that they're situated in horse boxes themselves, which is very unusual.
Yeah, one of them we had as a storage box, and one of the boxes we turned into an owner's room, and I was like, get the coffee machine out, let's hang some art.
Fantastic stuff. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go and have a look at some of those pieces.
So our stable star of the gallery is Anna Pugh. She's one of Britain's leading folk artists, and she has this storytelling style because every little blade of grass, every insect is so much in there.
and Elizabeth Castell too, who is seen in the V&A, and she's also got that piece there, hasn't she?
Yeah, they both live in a village in Sussex, and Elizabeth Castell is a textile designer by trade. It's great to be working with octogenarians, and it's through Anna Pugh's name here that I got all these other international artists to take part, I think.
Yeah, and I guess if an artist like Anna Pugh has that reputation, then more people are going to want to send paintings to you as a result.
Yeah, that's kind of how it all snowballed, but they also all said, oh, we love that it's in a stable, and we love that it's kind of different, because everyone's like, I don't have an art degree, you know that. I just kind of say, I like this and I'm doing it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I run with it.
And I suppose one of the big draws in this room is the wonderful eyes staring down at us here. Some sight they are.
Yeah, that's Bénédicte Gillet from France. And she was here with me. She was here for the original, or the inaugural exhibition, and then she's the one that said, Ilka, I don't have a gallery that represents me in the UK. Can I leave my bigger pieces with you? And I was like, sure, man, let's go for it. She does a lot of this emotional, like it really draws you in, and it appeals to non-horse people as well, funnily enough. You know, a lot of people go, wow. This is...
As you would, seeing that, to be honest. And I also wanted to mention that obviously one of your stable stars is Miss Bella Brand.
Yes.
And there's a lovely little portrait of her, which I have to say looks really rather lovely here, and that's by Jackie Hardman.
Yeah, Jackie Hardman from Beverly. I had her paint a few of them. I said, oh, paint some of Miss Bella Brand. I'm sure her owners will buy one. And then Miss Bella Brand actually has a fan in Australia. It's really funny. She watches her run every time, always bets on her. So she even bought a painting that went to Australia of Miss Bella Brand.
You've got many strings to your bow. You're a racehorse trainer, an art curator, and of course you're also a vet. I imagine that having that third string to your bow is very helpful in terms of looking after racehorses on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, it's helpful with the bigger picture. Nothing replaces horsemanship. Like, horsemanship is the most important thing. You have the bigger picture, you pick up things earlier, but at the end of the day, like training racehorses, they're professional athletes, and the line between fit and broken is like very close. So you're always like playing with that, you know, like trying to get them spot on for the race. And like if you do sports yourself, you know what it's like. Like you train for a race, you got setbacks, all these things. So it comes in handy also for explaining scenarios to owners, and and like keeping on top of things, the day-to-day stuff. I think people feel like the owners feel it gives them good feeling, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure. And do you find that your vet instincts help you perhaps to spot things a little bit earlier than others might not spot, or see a way of improving a horse's health in the way that others might not?
Yeah, I always try to think outside the box, but it is a little bit like a good rider can feel things before you can see them. So sometimes like you're like, oh, let's scan
Sixth
this.
sense.
Yeah, it is like a sixth sense, and then that's kind of what happens then, and you're like, oh, here we go. Because when I'm like, okay, we got to scan this, and everybody's like, there's nothing there, and then I was like, yeah, there's something there.
And if you had any ambitions, aims, or targets for Gansera-Leveque racing over the next few years, what would those be?
Get the numbers up. I want we have some empty stable, I want to get it full. With jumpers, flat horses, doesn't matter.
Because you're dual purpose, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm dual purpose. That was also by accident, more or less. I mean, I have a show jumping background, and so does my husband, Stefan, but we had a horse that didn't want to come out of the stall. Like, she'd load fine, but she wouldn't come out. So I said, oh, I'm going to like see if I can't trick you a little bit. So we started swimming and jumping her only in the mornings. And then I said, man, she really enjoys this. Let's take her over some hurdles. And then I was like, okay, which jockey we're going to get? And then we had a great working relationship, Nick Schofield and I, and she was like a Worcester specialist. So he always keeps saying, you got to get more jumpers back in so we can do a project again together. So yeah, we'll see.
From the frenzied hubbub and the clamour of Newmarket, we have hot-footed our way 8 miles down the road to the colder climes here at Sarah Humphrey Racing. She wouldn't have the biggest team in the world, but what she lacks in numbers, she more than makes up for in talent. And her stable star Nickelback will be hoping he continue to fly high in the jumping ranks for the rest of the season.
How did you first start sort of getting into the actual National Hunt Code as a licence holder?
Well, my husband was a lawyer, and an international lawyer, and so he then unfortunately work took over, and I thought, and we had 3 small children, and I thought, why am I training a couple of point-to-pointers for somebody else to ride and win £50? So I thought, oh well, I'll take out a permit. So I did that and enjoyed that. And people then began to say, would I train a horse for them? And I said, no, I wouldn't. But eventually I gave in. And yes, it started from there, really.
I think what impressed me most walking around the yard this morning was the fact that you're a bit of an autodidact. You've sort of taught yourself the training methods and not had any lessons, really. And now you're starting to get success at a pretty high level. I do think that's pretty impressive.
Well, thank you. Yes, when I started training the pointers and everything, I knew nothing about racing whatsoever. And I had come from more of an eventing, hunting background and had done a lot of teaching. And so I watched people, listened to everything, read everything, every book I could lay my hands on, and picked the bits I liked from all sorts of people and just made my own system, really. We haven't put down, we have a 3 furlong round canter here, and we have quite a big outdoor school, and we have a jumping circuit as well, but we don't have a big, long, straight gallop. And I've made it work for me. It's just too costly to put down a big gallop here, and we're only 8 miles from Newmarket, so we box them in to do fast work or use their facilities. But I've made what we've put down here, the system works for me, and it works very well.
And I guess it's the best of both worlds in a way, because you're far enough away from Newmarket to be secluded and nice and tranquil and silent here, but also close enough to exercise your horses if they need it.
Yes, absolutely. And we're out of, when they get bugs in Newmarket and it goes around the town, we're out of all of that. And we have a lot of turnout here. So in the summer, the horses are out the whole time. And today there's plenty out. We are on heavy clay, so they do have to stay in. But we get them turned out as much as possible, and anything really like that to keep them healthy and happy. Including
your star at the moment, Nickelback. We've got to talk about him in detail because he's been quite the success story over fences so far this season. Did you always think he'd get to the level he's actually reached now? Well, yes, we did, without sounding big-headed. When he first came to us, we had great hopes that he was going to be a very good hurdler. But the plan was always to go chasing with him. He's built like a chaser, isn't he? He is built like a chaser. And so we just said, well, OK, he hasn't reached the heights we hoped hurdling, but let's go chasing now. He's always jumped very well. And James came and schooled him several times, quite a few times. And off we went.
Very thankful to be entrusted with Nickel this season. Now he's gone chasing, and like you said, you never know what something can lead to, and very grateful and thankful, and he's been a lot of fun.
Were you always confident that he'd make into a smart chaser like he is now?
Yeah, I was, to be honest. He obviously ran in point to point, and I think it was the second last he fell, but the horse that won that race was my mate Mozzie. I was confident he would.
Yeah, that form's worked out quite well, hasn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
In the end. We saw you schooling a little bit earlier on, and I love the way Nickelback attacks his fences and schooling fences too. He's really exuberant, isn't he?
Yeah, exuberant, very enthusiastic. He just loves his job, loves jumping, and yeah, he's a thrill to ride.
And he won his first couple of handicap chases in good style. And has the plan always been to sort of let him bowl along because that's where he's happiest?
Well, at Warwick, I was actually going to try and take a lead if I could. It was obviously his first run in a chase under rules. He was very relaxed on the way to the start, very relaxed down at the post. we jumped off and I was very happy. I thought, great, we're going to actually be able to take a lead and teach him, settle him. And anyway, 3-4 strides from the first, he just took off. And then it was plan B. I wanted to just try and get him in as relaxed a position through the race as he could then. There was no point then trying to sort of wrestle him and fight him too much and waste energy that way. So that's why we then just allowed him to get into his rhythm.
Nickelback, who's made the bulk of the running, jumped soundly in the main and comes home to win impressively by a wide margin.
We had tried last year to get him to settle and hold him up a bit more and what have you, but no, that doesn't work. So we'll just let him do his own thing. And he likes to, yes, he likes it. He's got a high cruising speed. He just loves to get into that speed and that rhythm. And then he's away and he jumps for fun.
It's a real asset, that, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And he's quick from one side of the fence to the other.
And he enjoys it, seemingly.
Oh, he loves it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loves it. He jumps out of his fields here. Through the summer, you put him in one field and look an hour later and you'll find him somewhere else. And he loves racing. He loves jumping, loves his job. And so let's stop trying to interfere with him and tell him how we want him to do it. We'll just let him do it his way.
Well, I thought he was particularly impressive at Stratford, and then of course he took on graded company and has been beaten twice by two very good horses in Hermes Hélène and Master Chewy. But I thought particularly at Kempton last time in the Wayward Lad, the race didn't really pan out favourably for him. He was taken on for the lead and Master Chewy had that nice toe into the race. So the fact that he was banged there or thereabouts late on, I thought was pretty encouraging.
Yes. It was a great shame that the other horse took him on. And this was always my worry with dropping him back to 2, that horses would be closer to him, then he would be lit up. And then you're setting it up for some of the horses behind him, and he hasn't got, he'll keep going at the same pace, but he's not going to probably beat them. So it was impressive the way he ran and jumped, but I think I was always dithering about dropping back to 2, and I am going to go back up to 2.5 now.
I mean, he looks very versatile in terms of trip, but as you say, 2.5 looks his optimum. And you also said that you think going right-handed suits him slightly better. Yes,
if I'm being very picky, you could say he slightly hangs to the left. That is marginal, but it's those fine margins that could win the race at the end of the day. So I wouldn't be against running him left-handed, but if we've got the option of a nice race going right-handed, I would rather go there.
And how fulfilling is it for you to have a horse of his ability in the yard?
Well, it's great. It's absolutely great because my owners don't have deep pockets. We're not in the market to go to the big Cheltenham sales and spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on a horse. So our horses, by comparison, are relatively cheap, and so it's nice when you find a little gem somewhere, and you can then join the bigger boys and the bigger races, and it's good fun and it's great for the yard. The staff love it, all the owners love it, whether it's their horse or not, and everybody takes great pride in it. So it's good for us, yes.
As the sun shines down, we can reflect on the first episode in the latest series of This Racing Life, a show that has been illuminated by a fine pool of talent. So we give our thanks to James Owen To Sarah Humphrey and to Ilka Gansera-Leveque, hopefully success beckons for them in the near future. Until next week, a Welsh-themed episode of This Racing Life, it's goodbye.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.